In the East Twine kitchen, we have a special menu item. We have a leg of lamb. This thing is amazing. Something different from my followers, but listen, it is so good. And guess what? I have some good old potatoes and carrots to go with it. This thing is going to be amazing. So come on, let's go ahead and make this leg of lamb. Now, all of the ingredients will be in the description for you to follow. To start this recipe, you will need a leg of lamb, of course. This is a boneless, dry-aged leg of lamb that I got from my local butcher. Now, I'm going to cut the twine off of this lamb. I'm going to make sure that it's rinsed off because it sits in that blood. If you get it from the grocer or your butcher, you don't want that taste, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some of this fat off of this leg of lamb. Not too much, just enough. Now the fat is good because we want that fat to render, to have some flavor for our potatoes and carrots, but we don't want too much fat on our leg of lamb, okay? So what I'm doing, I'm going around and I'm trimming some excess fat off of this leg of lamb. Now while I trim the rest of the fat off this leg of lamb, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to this channel for more recipes from Eats with Twine. I got weekly uploads, you know I got y'all. Now once I trim a good amount of fat off of that leg of lamb, I will score the meat. Now when you score the meat, do not go too deep. I went a tad bit too deep, the knife was pretty sharp, but listen, we okay. Now we are going to work on our marinade now. I have a roasted garlic mustard. I'm going to have a mustard base for this marinade. Now this is Stonewall Kitchen. This is a brand I like. This is not sponsored, but I do like them. Then I have a Maine maple champagne mustard. You know, just elevating the flavors. You can simply use Dijon mustard or regular mustard if you prefer, okay? This is your recipe. Do whatever you like. Now that was 2 heaping tablespoons of the mustard that I use. Again, you can use whatever mustard you like. Now, I'm using some fresh rosemary for this recipe. Now, if you don't have fresh rosemary, you can simply get the bottled rosemary leaves from your grocery store. As you can see, I have some on deck just like that, okay? Either one will work. Now, for the soy sauce, I'm using a dark soy sauce. It is mushroom flavored. But if you don't have that, you can simply use your regular soy sauce. I will have that in the description for you to follow. Now for this recipe, I'm going to show y'all both. I'm going to show y'all the difference between the dark and the light. Now I'm starting off with my dark soy sauce. I'm adding some fresh thyme to that. Well, actually that's some dry thyme. Then garlic powder, I'm going to add that to that mixture because we want to build some flavor. Now, I attempted to use this onion powder, but listen, it was on this last leg, so I had to go and the cabinet, and of course I always have backup, so I have some granulated onion powder just like that. And now what I want to do is add some black pepper. So black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, we have our mustard, our rosemary in there, and guess what, that W saw, that Worcestershire sauce. Okay, so we're going to add some of that in there as well. Now I'm going to stir to combine. As you can see, that dark soy sauce changed the color of this marinade. You see how dark and rich that is? That's why I'm going to show y'all the difference between using the dark soy sauce and a regular soy sauce. Is a big difference in the color and a little bit of the taste. As you can see, I have the light soy sauce on my right and the dark soy sauce on my left. That is the difference, the color and the flavor profile. More dark and rich on the left and more light on the right. Now I'm going to use both for this recipe because we don't waste anything. I just wanted to show y'all the difference because I get asked a lot about the dark soy sauce versus regular soy sauce, and that's a big difference. Now I'm going to cut some potatoes, just roughly chop some potatoes, cube them. We have a casualty on the side, and we're going to set that aside. Also, I'm going to do the same thing with the carrots. I'm going to cut them diagonally just so we can have, you know, some nice size carrots in there. Just like that. So you want to find some thick carrots for this, okay? Now for this part, you can use as much or as little as you like. It depends on how many you're feeding and the size of your leg of lamb. Now once they are cut, I'll put them in a nice glass bowl. Now I am putting some olive oil on there so that way we can season it up and the season can adhere to the carrots and the potatoes. I am using Sanzone Complete for this, just enough to coat the potatoes and the carrots because we want to have all that flavor from the lamb and that marinade. And yes, we cannot forget onions. No dish will be a dish without some form of onions, okay? Now, you can skip out on the onions if you don't like onions, because remember, it's your recipe. I'm just only here to guide you. So I added the onions to my mixture just like that. Now, once I have everything in a bowl, I'm just going to go ahead and mix everything up and just add a tad bit more seasoning. If you like, remember it's to your taste, okay? So I'm going to mix everything up and make sure it's combined nicely. Now that we are finished with that, we are moving to our lamb. Let's go ahead and get this lamb together. Look at that, beautiful, scored a little deep. You know, listen, we all have mistakes, so I scored it a little too deep, but it's still going to be good. Now I am adding some olive oil all over this leg of lamb. We want to make sure that the seasoning and the marinade adheres to this leg of lamb. So you'll want to coat it nicely. Now, how much olive oil is going to depend on your size of your leg of lamb. Now you want to generously add some salt to this leg of lamb. It needs to be seasoned well, not over seasoned, just seasoned well. Liberally season it with some kosher salt and some freshly ground black pepper, just like that. That's all we're going to need because we're going to put our marinade on this leg of lamb. Now, once you finish putting that elbow grease in that leg of lamb, go ahead and take your marinade. Now, I'm starting with the lighter marinade. Remember, I told y'all the difference between the two marinades, but you know me, I mix them together. We don't waste anything. So I'm using the lighter marinade and the darker marinade to put on my leg of lamb. And again, all of that will be in the description for you to follow, depending on what soy sauce you decide to go with, the dark versus the light. Once you have your leg of lamb coated nicely, you will need some more of this twine. This twine is going to help hold it together. Now, my skills ain't that great with rolling it and putting the twine on there, but listen, we're going to make it work. So you want to roll the leg of lamb just like that onto itself. Once it's marinated and seasoned, if you follow the instructions, you should be okay at this point. We are going to start off with putting this twine. We're going to go, let's say we are going to go vertically first. We're going to go vertically. You can go horizontally first, whatever you prefer. We just want to make sure that it's basically covered and tied into itself properly. See, not bad for a beginner like myself. Now, make sure you go ahead and tie this twine properly. You just want to make sure that no pieces are hanging out, that everything is nice and tight so it can cook properly, okay? Look at it, front and back is perfectly tied together. So let's go ahead and move on to searing this leg of lamb. Yes, we're not going to just roast this without searing it. We have to sear it. So get you a heavy bottom Dutch oven pot, just like what I have. Now, you can use whatever brand you have. Now, put some olive oil in that Dutch oven along with some butter. Now, I'm using about 2 tablespoons of butter, just like that. Butter and that olive oil is going to mix well, and we are going to sear this leg of lamb so it has a nice color to it and it can lock in that flavor before we roast it in the oven, okay? Now, go ahead and sear that meat. We want a nice sear, folks. Listen, we want it dark. Now that's the sound I like to hear. Now look at that sear. Now excuse all the noise in the background. You know LA is pretty loud, but look at the sear on that leg of lamb. That thing looks amazing. So what you want to do is spend some time searing the meat, set it aside. We're going to get all of those beautiful pieces of seasoning, all that fond at the bottom of this Dutch oven. We are going to use that, okay? And to use that fawn, I am going to clean it up with some good old Chardonnay. Yes, some good old Chardonnay, just like that. Now, I lost the footage to the Chardonnay, but yes, I put it in there. And look, as you can see, I added my potatoes, onions, and curds to that beautiful fawn, just like that. Now add your beautifully marinated and seared leg of lamb to that bed of onions, potatoes, and carrots, and any leftover marinade that you have, go ahead and put that right on that leg of lamb just like that. You can never have this too flavorful, okay? This is going to be amazing. Now look at that. Nicely marinated and seasoned. Now, I know we're looking at this beautiful leg of lamb, but go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I will need to add some more liquid to this. Now, this depends on how much you want. I'm adding some more Chardonnay. You can actually add some more water to this depending on how much gravy you would like, okay? Cover this and roast it for about 2.5 hours. Cooking times will vary. On the screen, I will have the internal temperature for the lamb depending on how you like it, whether you like your lamb on the rare side or more on the medium or the well done, okay? But listen, just follow that on the screen, and if you have a oven safe thermometer, that it would be perfect. Now for my size leg of lamb, I'm going to show you how beautiful this thing turned out. Look at that leg of lamb. Look at the potatoes, the carrots, the onions. They're just soaking up all of that fat, that flavor, that marinade. Whew, this thing was so amazing to make, and the aroma in the apartment was so good. It smells so good. So go ahead and remove your twine. You don't want to eat that. Now look at that. Look at that leg of lamb. Now let's go ahead and cut into this leg of lamb and get started. Now take that beautiful sauce that was roasting with this lamb and all of the ingredients and go ahead and coat the leg of lamb generously. Put as much as you want on there. Now remove the leg of lamb from your Dutch oven. Now, if you want to make a gravy out of this, you can remove everything, all the potatoes, onions, and carrots, and then you can add you a cornstarch slurry to that to make it thick for a nice gravy. I did not do that for this video, but you can if you want to make a gravy out of that, okay? Now, let's go ahead and cut into this leg of lamb. Look at that leg of lamb. Let's go ahead and cut into this bad boy because I'm ready to eat. Listen, we roasted this for about 2.5 hours on 350. We added some good Chardonnay. We had some potatoes, onions, and curds. Like, this thing was really good. It's a nice, heavy, and hearty meal for the holidays. Listen, it don't even need to be a holiday. It could be for whenever you want. Now go ahead and add your bed of potatoes, carrots, and onions to a platter just like that. Take your leg of lamb slices. Cut them. And look how tender that meat is. I added that to the platter. But listen, we're not done yet. Take some of that sauce, put it right on top of that leg of lamb, just like that. And folks, you have yourself a beautiful hearty leg of lamb, roasted leg of lamb on a bed of potatoes, onions, and curds. I put some microgreens on the platter. Look at that. Look how juicy that is. Folks, if you made it this far in this video, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more recipes from Easter Twine. I'm going to go ahead and eat some of these leftover pieces, and I'm going to have a good old time.